Hello and welcome back to the Pride Pod here on Loud and Proud Orlando. We are back, Luis, for 2025, and finally, some big news has come out about Orlando Pride today. How are you, my friend? How you doing?
Well, I'm ecstatic. I'm happy to be back. Happy to definitely be able to create some Pride content. So happy Christmas, Happy New Year to you, John, to everybody in the Pride universe. Thank you for your support on 2024, and looking forward for a even better 2025. Hopefully, with another championship on the horizon. And no, just excited to be here, John.
Yes, indeed. And reason we are so excited, Luis, of course, if you have not seen the big news today, the big news to kick off the year, Marta has announced that she will be with us for another 2 seasons. I'm going to share right here, Luis, the kind of agenda for today's episode. Of course, we're going to kick it off talking all about Marta and her resigning, and we'll take a look at the announcement and talk all about that. That's the hot piece of news. But there were some NWSL calendar dates that came out as well, so we'll kind of look at those. And then you guys can ask us any questions. So if you're here in the chat, great to see you. Drop us a question, and we will get back to you on what we think. So, Luis, talk to me about this announcement today. A very sneaky announcement from the press team over Orlando Pride.
Yeah, first we should watch it, and then we can definitely comment on
Definitely,
it.
yeah.
Thank you to Communications to providing the video.
Orlando, what an incredible ride we have had together. From the moment I stepped my foot into the airport 8 years ago, you made this club and this seat my home. Week in and week out, home and away, you have shown up and have made this the best club to play for. It's been the honor of a lifetime to represent this community, to be your captain,
At that point, I was like, "Come on, man, really? Come on!"
and to bring the first ever league championship to the city of Orlando. That's why I want you to hear from me first. I'm staying home!
That's amazing. That was an amazing video. We need to get the PNG logo of the Pride with a star. I still have the PNG logo of the actual just the Orlando Pride logo. So I'm gonna have to talk to Communications about it. But
Yo, we gotta
phenomenal
get
video,
that
man.
updated. Yeah, I mean the club, they like to be a sneaky. Yesterday they did the. Do you have that, Luis? The little teaser they did.
Yeah,
Yesterday you showed people on the screen if they want to see the. That was a little sneaky one where they're like, "Hey, there's gonna be an announcement tomorrow at 11." Just picture of the locker room with Martha's jersey, and then this today, and it's very. I think Marta, I feel like she was getting so emotional talking about it, and
yeah,
and you're like, well, I know she's getting emotional. Like, I think she's just really proud of everything anyway. So I think she would kind of feel that way, but then it starts to be like, whoa, she's like really, really upset. Like, what, So great news. I mean, there was a lot of people speculating this was going to go the other way. Luis, and the club kind of played into that a little bit as a bit of a joke, and I'm sure some people's hearts were racing today, and people were a little worried. So always nice to have a little bit of fun and games with it. But at the end of the day, the best news we could hear, right? Marta, 2 more years. We suspected that she had a couple more years in her. There was a lot of talk, Luis, of a certain club in Brazil. There's a
Yeah, there
there's a
was a
lot of
lot of
Corinthians
buzz.
fans right now who are kind of
Yeah, there
upset,
was.
right?
Yeah, so the Corinthians fans right now are saying, well, our hopes and dreams for having her retire here are probably dead in the water because with 2 more seasons, she's probably going to be in on the verge of being 39, 40. It's a Don Dada right there. So I do tell the Brazilian fans not to get discouraged because Marta does a lot of good in Brazil. She's a lot. She helps a lot of people. Like when you help people, you don't have to just show off that you're helping people. She just does things on the DL, like, and that she helps. I know she helps a lot of people. She has dreams of probably coaching in Brazil. She might not retire in Brazil, but she may be a national team coach of Brazil at some point and take him to the promised land. Which is always something that they've wanted to accomplish, a World Cup or a gold medal and things like that. They've been so close. you know uh Maybe she's the one who takes him to that level. Let's read some comments real quick before we go and keep talking about Marta. Onel Barrett, thank you for your comment. It says, happy that the goat is staying home. Thanks, Marta. Go Pride. Jonathan Canada, thank you, says, not going to lie, halfway through I was going to like, well, she's gone, then bam. There you go. Thank you, Jonathan. Of all sad words, LMAO, I am so glad I didn't watch this until someone already told me the news. There you go. Yeah, I saw it. When I first saw it, I was like, hey, but come on, man. Like, she can't do that, but I'm happy. So that brings us to kind of our depth, right, John? We're keeping our core. And I feel like we're going to be hopefully you know, adding some pieces, right, to the puzzle. And if you want to, there you go. There you go. So now that Marta is back for 2 seasons, you know, I think her use and her minutes are going to be similar to the ones she had this year. Well, this past year. I don't know. What are your thoughts regarding that?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's two things. Like, of course, it's great to have Martha back for another 2 years, and like she does look like last season. She looked like she was like 27 again.
Yeah.
Not like 38 at all. But that doesn't mean at some point it might hit her. In these next 2 years, and she might really slow down. And that says nothing against Martha as a player. There's just that happens. Like you see it happen in the women's game and the men's game all the time, where it just suddenly everything's that more difficult. Just age, farther time, Luis, comes for everybody. But Marta looks so rejuvenated last season that I really hope it doesn't ever come for her. There's people joking online like, oh, she's been made into a robot and she's gonna play forever. And that's what we want. But I do think we need to start really relying more on summer. And I'm hoping that over these next 2 years we'll see Marta play less and do more of that, like, leadership role. Not play less in terms of like we don't want to see her, but in terms of like the rest of the squad learning to be able to be as good as we can be without Marta, because she's probably not going to go more past these 2 years. Like it's very rare to see a 41-year-old out there, Luis. So I think for these last 2 years, there's going to be some incredible moments, but I also am enjoying the, Marta, the leader, Marta, the veteran who's teaching these young players. And I think it's great that we've got 2 more years of her being able to, educate with Summer and with Adriana and with, like Ali Limos and like so many of these young players around her that she can teach so many things to. As we always think about the ones in her position, but she's going to affect everybody in every position. So, the fact that we have a leader like that who's so important to this club for 2 more years just means that this team that won the double isn't really, without her, it would be a slight step down, but we're not even having to take that step down.
No, for sure. And I think this year we had already our defense step up, right? So a lot of the, our defense really won the Pride a lot of games. Now we need to see that on the attacking third. Like when we put Limos on, she needs to, this has to be their year as well. Last year was also the year of Ali Watt, especially Ali Watt, not in regular season games, but Ali Watt where it mattered. Like she came alive. We need to see more of, like, I think, a bigger role of Adriana as well. Then adding in Grace Chanda, and seeing if there is any connection between Banda, Marta, Adriana right there, that attacking third. We need to see that. Uh, Luana coming back. That's one thing that we are gaining a player that, until the really bad news that we received on her sickness, she was one of the top players in the team. So having her back with this mentality of, I have something to prove, this is not over yet, like that rejuvenates a player, and makes him, even a better, in my opinion, better player mentally. um Haley McCutcheon, I think she's been phenomenal. And I don't know if you've seen the training footage of Angelina in Brazil. She's training right now with a personal trainer. She's doing like, what's it called? It's not CrossFit, but it's like, kind of like F45. I don't know if people know about F45. Kind of
Yeah.
like that. But then she's doing that incorporated with soccer. So she's doing like all these short passes, little crosses here and there, running, stopping, kind of faking, So she's using this spare time. That tells you a lot about an athlete. She could be reading a book, watching Netflix. You know what I mean? She's working on her craft to even be better next season. So a lot of promise, man. A lot of promise. So I'm just intrigued. I feel like we still need maybe some depth on the center back position, because as you see Emily Sums right there. I don't know what your thoughts regarding that, but other than
Yeah.
that, I think we're good.
I mean, definitely this in this depth chart we have up here, we've only put every player in once and in one position. That kind of gives you that real idea of like when we're stretched, what are we looking like? First and second players in each position. I think striker, right? We've got Banda, we've got Simone Charlie. Don't forget who's going to be back. Still I think she's 29 or 30 and has played at a pretty high level and scored quite a few goals. So she is going to feel like one of several brand new players, Luis, that were on the roster, but we didn't really see anything of in 2024. Same, like you said, with Grace Chanda, left wing. Then, we kind of put Julie Dole behind her. Most likely we'll see that. Grace hopefully getting some first team minutes at some point. We want to see what she can do. Summer Yates, behind Marta in the center attacking mid. Then you've got Adriana and Ali Watt out on the right wing. So again, this is not like these players only play here. It's just to give you an idea of like where we are across the board in terms of positional coverage. Of course, like Ali could play either side and Summer can play the wing, that kind of stuff. But this is just to give you an idea. Angelina in D mid, as well as Morgan Gautral. And then you got Haley McCutcheon in D mid, Luana coming back, like we said, Ali Limas as well, not to be forgotten. A very good young prospect there. And then left back, I think, Luis, we got Carrie Abella, of course. But behind Carrie, like, I know Brie Martinez could play both sides, but I kind of have her on the right back side at the moment. So maybe, we're in need of who am I forgetting? She's not even on here. We've got Carson Pickett. This I didn't add her in. Hold on, you're muted. Carson
Sorry,
Pickett was missing from
sorry.
my.
Yeah, we have Carson Pickett there, but we have, like, for example, well, Sophia Manners. No longer, I think
So
she's
center
gone.
back definitely, I think, is the only option there. Really,
Maybe a
that I
center back that could play also left back, or right back.
yeah,
There are
I
some of
agree.
those.
I think definitely.
I mean, now you have to understand also, Brianna and Carson and Carrie could play the center back role. So But I don't know. I feel like they still gonna get probably a defender, an all around defender, I believe.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, I think we need a young prospect defender, really, center back. Like I'd really like to get a center back with some size and height.
right.
I think we kind of lack a little bit of that. Like Emily and Kylie are incredible athletes, but and Hafa too. Like they all get around, but I think sometimes we can get beat in the air by some tall
Yeah.
players, and we could do with just one player in the back who's quite tall. So maybe a young, tall prospect at center back could be useful. Brie Martinez can play center back as well, so she could play. Maybe an all round left back, right back, center back, young prospect type. It might be that we bring in a more experienced player at center back. You don't know. I mean, I think that Kylie Strom Sam's partnership is obviously very strong, and you've got Hafa as well. As a kind of third option, but really could also be in the starting lineup. Arguably, if she gets back into fitness, so you got three very strong center backs. I don't think you need another, veteran like older center back. I think you need a young center back that can kind of fill in when needed and get a few games, but really kind of be that backup.
Yeah, I mean, this team is young, and I agree with you. I think they've. I think the front office done a tremendous job getting the right pieces. So we have that peace of mind that they're going to make the best decision of
Yeah,
getting somebody that's going to mesh. If you look at our partners across the pond, we're kind of doubtful. What kind of player are they going to bring? Right now, in this scenario, one thing that the Pride does really well, and that's why it got them a shield and a championship. It's because they've been able to know what pieces are needed. And if they're going to bring a young defender, I believe they're going to bring a top prospect, a prospect
yeah,
with a lot of upside, hopefully. And yeah, and I was kind of honestly talking about another real quick subject on the side. I was upset about the whole UN's women's national team. Like no call ups for the Pride. Like, yeah, I know they're on
yeah.
vacation, but
Well,
like
I think it's a few things. I mean, I think as well as like the futures roster was really only U23 players. So we don't have that many that are actually U23 that we think would be
okay,
deserving a call up. So it's only spots on the regular roster really there. I do think that Carrie Abello still should have got one at left back on the main roster. But there could also be other reasons that we don't know about as to why. Like for one, it's not a FIFA like sanctioned camp in the sense
right.
that it's not in the FIFA international window of international breaks. So it's something that, US soccer just does for the men's and women's side. Like I'm going to go down and watch the US men versus Venezuela. And it's like the roster of US men's team that's going down is
It's
not as
MLS.
exciting, let's say, as
Yeah,
the
it's
main
MLS.
roster.
It,
Yeah.
it's MLS. Yeah.
And that just kind of shows you like none of the European players got called in for who played for the U.S. women's national team either. And I think also there's no games being played. So, I think always we think like, oh, if you were asked, like, why wouldn't you go? But maybe sometimes it's like, well, there's not really any games. It's, that kind of camp. So maybe they had other things they wanted to do, other reasons. I don't know. We don't know whether they're asked or not asked, Luis. It's just a case of,
Yeah, for
you know,
sure.
we as I'm always like, yo, like that's my reaction, of course, is like, why are there no Pride players here? And like they're talking about it in other big press outlets were talking about like, why are there no Pride players from winning the double in these national call ups? So I think it's a natural reaction to have, but also this camp isn't that vital a camp. So it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, yeah. We have a comment here by Jonathan. It says, in 3 years, it's 2027 season, World Cup year. She could go again. Yeah, you're right. Thank you
I
to
mean,
the 50 people that are live right now. So appreciate your support. Subscribe to the channel. Drop us your comments. If you're on Instagram, we put a kind of like an ask me a question type of thing box. You can definitely drop us a question. We read it live today. But yeah, I mean, talking about the depth, I mean, maybe when it comes to an attacker, I don't know if with Banda and women Grace Chanda. When it comes to Grace Chanda, for example, we don't know if she's if it's gonna be an injury that's gonna linger. Because sometimes injuries could be recurrent. We may want to get another young player through the flank that maybe it's able also to play maybe depth in the mid. I think it would be good just to have another player that could play maybe left wing and maybe
Yeah,
you
I
know
mean,
the three positions right here in the middle.
Evelina Duljan is gone,
Yeah,
right? So that would have been one of those. Amanda
yeah,
Allen was out on loan and has been injured.
yeah. She's injured. Yeah,
So I
unfortunately.
think they sent her back. I have to check on that.
Well, she
I
they,
think she
s-
just came
they
back to have her injury with us instead of with them,
yeah,
probably.
because they
We have
didn't want.
better, yeah, we
I
have
mean,
better care, probably.
they
Yeah.
were care. I mean, they were kind of careless. So.
Well,
And now, I mean, if you look at our like center forward there, it's only
yeah,
Simone, Charlie, and Barbara Banda, and then obviously you have Julie Dolick who play also the
yeah,
position, and Ali Watt.
Adriana. Yeah.
But I mean, don't you think maybe they're gonna go for an attacker?
I think the thing is,
Because Lara
if
Ket is gone. I mean, she's gonna be gone. She has a lot of offers right now
I
in
was trying to
Argentina.
remember if Larroquette is out of contract as well. I'll have to look. Let's look on here. Let's see. I have it down. Larroquette. Let's see. Doo. I think I have to look it up online, but if I remember, maybe she was still in contract for another year. I can't remember exactly,
Yeah, I mean, she has a
um,
lot of there's interests.
but
I know.
we don't feel like she's gonna be back. Is the general
Yeah,
vibe
yeah.
we're
Based on sources from South America, I could tell you that
getting? Yeah,
there are clubs, kind of targeting her,
yeah,
because
and I think
she's
she
a big
probably
name.
wants to go.
Yeah,
Would be my guess. I mean, she's not playing nearly as
yeah.
much.
She exactly. That's
And if
right.
she's still got a few years left, and so if she wants game time, she knows
Yeah.
it's not going to be probably here. She's definitely not going to get in front of Barbara. Um, I think Simone Charlie is an interesting one because she's coming back. So I have to see, how fit she is. I'm worried that there's always a chance of re-injuries and stuff, which you don't want, but it is a reality at that age after coming off the back such a big injury. I think we got to see what she can do still in this league. But if Barbara gets a serious injury, knock on wood, that doesn't happen. I don't think we can just rely on Simone Charlie. Maybe we need another striker up there. Of course, this year it's in 2024 we had Alex Kerr, but she moved on to
Italy.
Como, right? Yeah. So we're kind of a little bit light there, but as you said, Julie could play there, Adriana could play there. So maybe it's more about getting in another attacking mid than it is, necessarily a striker. Definitely center back, like we talked about before, I think, or some kind of other defender. I believe right now we have it's like 24 or 25 players under contract.
Hmm.
Maybe 26 now. Marta's there, so I have to count exactly, but we don't have a lot of slots left in the roster. So if players aren't leaving, there's not a huge amount of space to bring new players in. I am imagining a couple transfers max this window.
Yeah.
Like maybe even just one coming in. Like we haven't even spoken about Kat Assman that came in from
Right.
Portland.
So that means
Um,
that Sophia's not gonna be here with us.
yeah, so this of course happened way back on December 11th.
Yeah.
But she's an Orlando Pride player. She came from Portland. So yeah, I mean, I've heard some good things about her. Obviously she spent time with the youth national level and stuff. She was another Penn State one, Luis, another
Another
Penn
Penn
State
State.
one.
Yep.
She's got to be good if she played for Penn State. That's what we know now. So yeah, she's Georgian, so she will kind of back here with her family nearer to the southeast. So Kim Scott says that Lara has got one more year. Yep. And
Yeah,
there
but
are
I think she's.
26 on the roster.
Yeah, I have a feeling she's on the way out. To be honest with you, I mean the bus is pretty big over there.
I
I don't know if the
feel
Pride
the
is going
buzz is
to make a buck out of
the
her.
buzz is big. We'll put her down here for right now because she's technically here.
She hasn't really done much, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to. I think she's still got a lot of talent, but I don't know if she's gonna be able to score a lot of goals in NWSL anymore.
It'd be cool to see Lara in up and coming women's league.
I think
Like
she could definitely
if
get
she
a.
goes play, for example, she goes to play in Colombia or in Peru. You know what I mean? Like there's our their women's leagues are 2 to 3 years old. So especially the Peruvian one, like it'll be cool to see her. I think she'll be such a good, not only name recognizable asset for a team, and over there teams are playing pretty big. Like two teams from Peru just signed two athletes from Fluminense and Santos, and these are top Brazilian teams that are playing Serie A and Copa Libertadores and things like that. So, I mean, if they have that type of money, I think it'll be good. It'll be something she could be kind of like set an example. Do something good
Yeah,
for the women's sport.
I feel like it's a lot of the time it's just so much about where the player wants to live as well, and like what they want their life to be. Like if Lara Cat really likes living in America or wants to be in a certain part, there's so many new women's teams coming up with the W League, and there's quite a few NWSL teams. That I feel like she might still be able to get a role in a squad somewhere in America. But if she wants to go back to South America, I think that's a great option too. I don't have any judgment in that. I just don't think she's gonna
Yeah.
particularly be here this year or play a big part in this season, definitely. So we'll see. And I'm sort of excited to see what happens in this offseason, Luis. But we've already had one player come in. Marta's re-signed. That's the that's one of the biggest pieces. I
Yeah.
think if she hadn't re-signed, would we be saying, hey, we need to go out and look for another attacking mid? There's argument Angelina would have taken over that role there, or like Summer would have taken over that role, like we talked about. Maybe would have gone out for any kind of midfielder, but that's not the reality we live in. We live in a world where Martha's going to be here for 2 more years. And yeah, man, I mean, that's the big news, and that's what we're all really excited about for next season. And Barbara Banda's second year, I imagine, is going to be even better than her first.
She's want to go
Uh,
for the MVP, I'm sure.
yeah, and if Grace Chanda's got a little bit of that Zambian fire in her too, and maybe she's going to be a revelation. We don't know exactly what
I'm
her
excited to
level is
see
going to
her.
be. Is she going to be a really good player or an incredible star, or what can she bring? I'm really hoping she's going to be a very sort of fast-paced, tricky winger, someone on the 1v1s. That would be great to see, like
Yeah, I
Barbara
mean,
likes to do.
yeah, it'd be cool to have somebody that can that kind of knows where band is gonna go.
Yep, that
And then you
relationship.
see more of like an if like you know we kind of in some episodes last year we kind of talked about how her decision making sometimes will be, she didn't know if he was going to pass it to Adriana or it was going to hold up the ball or she was going to shoot. But overall, I mean, she's had such a phenomenal season. I think if Chanda, I think we're going to see in the first, I think 4 or 5 games. I mean, we're going to see Chanda and see what she can contribute, and hopefully, it's more connections. Having a connection with Summer, having a connection with Marta, having a connection with Barbara, and
Yeah,
then hopefully she's a player that's going to definitely boost this team even more. Because same with Simone Charlie. I feel like I think those players, because of their injuries and because how those injuries came about, and they had such a big buzz being signing to the team, they're gonna come out with a knife between their teeth, trying to fight, and
they got to
so.
fight to get in the squad. It's
Mhm,
it's harder for sure coming back from injury. Always, you gotta come back from injury and win your place.
that's right. We have comments says, of all sad words, I'm so hyped to see Grace play. There you go. It says there are currently 26 on the roster, says Kim Scott. Thank you, Kim. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Um,
So the
Sam,
schedule.
sorry, Jonathan Candace said, didn't Sam's get called up? Yeah, Emily Sam's did get called up. We were
Yeah.
just referring to the fact that no other players have been called up, but it's not the end of the world. It's not a big camp, like we said.
Yeah.
Alrighty, Luis, there was some announcements from the league as to what's happening this season. We don't have the full calendar yet, but we have the schedule footprint, is what they
Wow.
call it. So there's basically some like key dates throughout the year. There's some interesting information here to talk about around the league. There's going to be 190 matches. That's a lot.
Wow.
You think about it that way. That seems like a
That's a
lot.
lot.
It seems like a lot of games. But that's probably right. So the 2025 campaign will begin. This is a big one. March 7th with the 2025 End of Vercel Challenge Cup at Inter and Co Stadium. Now, if you don't know what the Challenge Cup is, essentially it's where the it says right here the competition each season. The End of Vercel Challenge Cup features a meeting between the previous campaign's winner of the End of Vercel Shield and the reigning End of Vercel champion. Now, Luis, who who is the End of Vercel Shield winner, and also who is the End of Vercel champion?
Uh, are we gonna see a rematch?
Well, the answer is we are both. So this is
Oh
like
no, no,
that.
I know that. Yeah, I mean we're
All right.
both, but I'm just saying, like, so we just get an automatic trophy.
Right, exactly. Like we're playing ourselves, but we can't play ourselves, of course. So
Yeah,
Washington by default get a. Maybe they should have. Who came second? Was that that was also Washington, right? Yeah.
yeah.
So it was always going to be Washington versus us. Yeah. So this one, I just laughed because it's kind of like what happens sometimes, like in the Premier League when you get like Man City win everything, and then it's like, oh, the opening, the same thing where they have the FA Cup winner plays the Premier League winner, and it's like, okay, we just invited along Liverpool because Man City won everything, or Arsenal or whatever. So we are the Man City in this world right now. We are the big dog, and we are going to be playing ourselves for the Challenge Cup. No, we're going to be playing Washington Spirit, so that's going to be a massive game on March 7th.
I have an
So
idea.
yes, Luis, go ahead.
So I mean, it should be called the Super Cup,
The Super Cup.
and it would be, you know, like you said, you know, the Shield winner against the champion, right?
Right, yeah.
But in the case is the same, then it should turn into the Challenge Cup, and then the champion, the undisputed, should maybe look for a team abroad to challenge, and make that like a special cup, promoting the league. So
Mm,
let's say the Pride wants to play against Manchester United, right? And challenges Manchester United, and then you can have that whole this video, the tweets, with challenging you type of thing, and then they, obviously behind closed doors, they sign paperwork, and to do like a kind of like a sparring, but like a real match for like a cup. And yeah, and then make it happen. I think it'll be fun. I think it'll bring excitement. It'll promote the league, and that's only in the event. That's why it makes it so special. It's in the event of there's an undisputed champion, kind of like the Pride, you know. But other than that, it'll be the Super Cup, which will be the shield against the regular season. Sorry,
oh yeah, I think we'll
hopefully the
get
commissioner
to
is
that
listening.
level eventually. That would be cool. Um, Basically, this game is going to be at our stadium. Of course, it's going to be on Prime Video, and so that's awesome. We're very excited about that. It's also presented by Google Pixel, so maybe there's going to be some big fan activation stuff. I'm imagining what I saw at the end of SL Cup final, something like that. I want to see some league money pumped into this Challenge Cup, Luis. We didn't get our final, so this is final two, and this will be a redo, and we just got to beat Washington again to prove that we really are the better team. And it doesn't matter how much Rodman flops, we're still gonna win.
Yeah,
The
Yeah, I mean, we gotta beat it in front of our fans. You know.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. I think I'm hoping that we get a big attendance, even though, it's difficult to get excited about these things. Like, it's very cool that we're in one, but it's the kind of game that if my team wasn't in it, I would be like, yeah, I'm not watching
Right.
that. You know what I mean? Like, it's unless you're a massive fan of the league, it's not, it's the same, I think, when you're having these little one cup tournaments at the beginning of the season, which are really just a way to start the season with a big game. It is what it is, right? It's kind of there for the money. Let's be honest. There's not a huge amount of prestige in winning the Challenge Cup, in my opinion, but it'll be cool to host it and fun to watch us in it. The regular season then kicks off a week later on Friday, March 14th, which is going to be 26 match schedule. The campaign will be played over 25 weeks and has formatted to avoid staging NWSL matches during FIFA windows. Wow, Luis. Who knew
Yeah,
that? Who knew
it's
you could do that? Who knew you could just not play games during FIFA windows?
right.
Wow. And to allow the league top players to compete for both club and country. Excellent work. MLS, take notice, please. The league will pause a play for a CBA mandated break as well on June 23rd till 29th during the month of July, while the Confederations Cup Federations competitions like the Euros will be on, Luis. Maybe we're going to see Anna Morehouse in the Euros. That would be cool. Who
Very
knows?
cool. Yeah.
Maybe we signed another European player. Maybe we see them in the Euros. Maybe a Spanish player. Who knows? And then Copa America Femenina as well. So we're definitely going to have some players in that, I'm sure. During this break from the regular season, NWSL clubs will have flexibility to compete in matches against other professional women's teams, including international opponents, ensuring competition for all NWSL players. So that was kind of like the Summer Cup, right? But they didn't call it the Summer Cup.
So there's no Summer Cup this year.
I don't know. It kind of
They should not
I
call it.
think I think they're not committing to that whole thing. I think they're just being like, you can do your own friendlies, like,
Okay. And
because maybe, I don't know, but that's what it sounds like here. It says during the break of regular season, NWSL clubs will have flexibility to compete in matches against other women's professional teams, including international opponents, ensuring competition for NWSL players. So I don't know. It said more details were released at a later date. Maybe
Copa
that's
America Femenil is around what time?
it's about the same time, yeah. So the
Oh,
Copa
okay,
America,
so
it's the June sort of break when the same time I believe we did it this year. So I think either this is a prelim, statement that's then going to result in the Summer Cup, but maybe they decided that they don't want to commit to that and they're going to let things go. A little sad word says there isn't an official summer thing. They just want clubs to do their own stuff. I think that's great. I mean,
yeah, I think that's fantastic.
like let's get a freaking friendly going with Barcelona or something. It doesn't matter if all their teams are playing in Europe; it'll still
Yeah, I
be a
mean, it
cool
could
thing to
be
do.
like I said, it could be a brand exposure
Yeah,
to to a different country. I mean, they could even maybe even travel to Brazil. You know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, there's plenty of clubs in England that are not like. There's plenty of super clubs there that you could be like, yo, come on over Arsenal, and most of their team, probably, like, some of them, of course, will be playing in the Euros, a chunk of it, but a lot of their team will not be and can
Yeah,
come play.
like West Ham and things like
Yeah,
that.
like you play West Ham, you could play, whoever you want out of that league would be a great opportunity. We saw some of that going on in the summer
Stoke
with
City.
other NWSL clubs. Stoke City, sadly not. The women's team for Stoke City is a few rungs down the ladder away from the top flight, but just like the men's team, Luis.
it'll
Thanks
be a
for reminding me.
10-0
Uh,
Orlando Pride win.
Yeah, right. It'd just be smashing. It would be not fun. Alrighty. The regular season concludes the week of October 31st through November 2nd. That's earlier than this year for
Yeah,
sure. So result on that, because we don't like these insanely long seasons.
yeah, because we made it pretty
Yeah,
far,
it was like Thanksgiving.
and
It
they
was
had
after Thanksgiving.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was a little yeah. They had no chance to rest or to
No.
enjoy the what they won. The shield. Yeah, no chance.
Yeah, I mean the end of it. So it seems like the championship is about a week sooner. It looks like so. It definitely seems like it's early, a little earlier than last year, but maybe that's to do with the fact they're not committing to a summer cup, and I don't know. We'll have to see. The scheduling process for 2025 is underway. That's great. We want to hear all about it, but there are some also interesting things that are happening again with the media rights. We obviously have the 4-year domestic media rights agreement that's been under. It's pretty much the same as last year, but also still very confusing. There's Prime Video. There's also now a thing called Scripps, which is owned by Ion. Ion was there before doing stuff, but I guess
Is
it's on a new
is
app.
Scripps like an app?
I guess. I don't know what
Wow.
that is, but hey, there's another
What a,
streaming thing. You got to
yo,
learn
what a
it and
name too
download
for
it.
an app like Scripps.
Scripts.
Hey, you have Scripps?
Each Saturday night that follows will conclude a double header on Scripps, owned by Ion Network,
Hey, John, make sure you
available
get your
over the
Scripps.
air in 123 million homes. So
Come
it's
on.
definitely on every on your TV,
Yeah,
smart
probably.
TV
Yeah.
channel, that one, or there's an app. There's always an app. ESPN as well as Paramount Plus are going to have some games as before. So there's a regular season matches will air on CBS and stream on Paramount Plus. And also ESPN will have games that are across ESPN, ESPN. I mean, we're like every network. Is there any network that NWSL has not split themselves across? Because it doesn't. I can't think of one. We're not on Apple. I can give them that. But yeah, I enjoy watching on Prime Video. I think that's great. I think
Yeah,
that's a
Prime
nice
Video is
thing.
great. NWSL
I do
Plus
like
was
the CB
enjoyable too.
coverage. I think they do a good job. I'm not such a fan of watching on Ion, but there's no. It says down here remaining matches for regular season will be on NWSL Plus as well, so that's still there. So sometimes it's just very confusing for the consumer. I feel like every
How do
time.
you commentate on NWSL Plus? I would like to be a commentator.
I mean, there's not a lot going on there, right? I mean, yeah. I think the NWSL Plus is just a feed from one of these other things. I don't
Oh,
always
gotcha.
know. It's very confusing. But I think that's the thing. It's just a case of you've always got to do this like investigation as to like where is the game on, like which of the many options is it on
Yeah,
time? Like they do have it really well on the club website if you go on there and see all the games
yeah,
it says, but it's not as simple as just like we have with MLS where you can just know it's on Apple TV and you throw it on there. So yeah, there's going to be some games on major networks, which is good though. I think that is good that we're getting more exposure. I remember the stat that came out this year that said there's more people to watch the NWSL final than the MLS final. I think also because a lot of people are watching through Apple TV, but still, in terms of like actual live numbers, women's sports is getting really big there. So it's great that we're pretty available, but also confusing to the consumer, I think, Luis. All right. Anything else in here? Yeah, there's some interesting things.
we have some comments here.
Oh, okay, great.
It says, of all sad words, I feel like the Women's Cup is going to run a billion weird events in the most random venues they can find. It says, there isn't an official summer thing. They just want clubs to do their own stuff. The criteria is that you hate Orlando. That's how you become a commentator. Come on, man. It'll be cool, I'll be like, maybe I'll be the first commentator talking positively about the Pride.
Lol. Oh man, yeah. Well, some of the quality of those commentators, I'd say the bar is fairly low, Luis. So, you got a good chance, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Do you have anything else to talk about Orlando Pride? Really, the news hasn't been,
Hasn't been.
flowing a
Yeah,
lot,
because
of
people have been
course.
resting, man. They've
Yeah,
been doing
everyone's
vacation.
resting, but we wanted to come and talk, of course, with the big one that came out today, all about Marta staying. It's also, Luis, I think we were never expecting a lot of news to be happening for Orlando Pride in this offseason. And the reason for that being is that, when you have a team that's, 26 players deep or whatever it is right now, and you've just won the double, and most of all of those players are here for another year or two, you're not really gonna make a lot of moves.
You, you know,
This was one of the biggest things of the offseason, and we started off well with that.
yeah, for sure. I mean, it's been the shot head around the world, and I do want to say, um, I am completely appalled and disgusted about things, and these are like just fans from Brazil that are pissed off that Marta's not going to Brazil. Look, like they're trying to compare like the greatness of Corinthians as like number one, peas with carrots. You got peas, you got carrots. You can't just mix. The NWSL is completely different than the Brazilian league. It's a young league, but Marta is in a place and not only she's respected, but she's making a huge impact, and she feels that this is the decision. In the end, this is a decision per the player. It is an individual decision. You cannot get, now she's given Brazil so much when it comes to country. It's just terrible to see so much negativity about that, calling her, names and things like that. I read Portuguese, so I could understand what it's saying. So, and obviously no one puts their real name. It's always like a little cartoon character, you know what I mean? But and I mentioned what I said earlier in the beginning of the pod is, she's probably not going to play in Brazil, but that doesn't mean she's not going to give back to her country. She's definitely going to give back in a big way, possibly. You don't know what's going to happen in the future. She could be the next Brazilian coach, and she could be the one who actually wins, makes them win everything, which is what Brazilian people have been wanting in women's soccer. So, it's just a matter of, having some respect of the decision that an icon, because I consider her an icon has made her decision, not based purely on this is her home. Like she feels comfortable here. She feels respected here. The way the club handled her mom coming over and all of that, like it's been, it's been fantastic. You know what I mean? So she wants to continue to live there. Now you have to understand, and again, I'm gonna ruffle some feathers, but there's turmoil down south. There's a civil war brewing in Venezuela. There's always political turmoil over there. And yes, here we also have political turmoil, but our political turmoil is not as bad as their political turmoil. So you want to be in a place that you can just play your sport, play your craft. Go grab a Starbucks, go to Publix and get a Publix sub, and enjoy your life, and make money and be with your friends and enjoy the fans. That's Orlando for her. She feels comfortable here. So I feel like it's I feel like it was really disrespectful. People like just talking a bunch of trash, and
I
I
think
didn't like that.
I think also that's a lot of like Brazilian opinion on the men's
Yeah,
soccer team legacy that doesn't apply to your
to the
women's soccer team. Like, I'm sorry, it's not the same
yeah,
thing. Like, the Man City women's team is nowhere near as good. Like, they're still
yeah,
very good, but they haven't got that legacy,
yeah,
right? It's the same. Like, there's so like look at the Lyon team, right? That's
yeah.
insane for the women's side
Insane,
and nowhere
man.
near as good on the men's side. Like, there's so many, and especially for us, it's like Orlando Pride, yeah, did not have a lot of respect on their name until this season, and now they have huge amounts of respect on their name. And also, like Marta talked about here, this is a team where everybody works hard for each other, where everyone believes in each other. Is she going to go find that down in Corinthians? I don't think so. I don't think she's going to get the level of coaching, the level of attention, the
I
level of
agree.
detail
And
that we have here, and the staffing setup that we have, the facilities that we have. It would be nice, I'm sure, for her to be back in Brazil, but it's not that you're comparing a club that is right now one of the best in the in the
In the
world
world.
soccer. Really, it's like one of the top 5 clubs in women's soccer globally at the moment. To a club that's not even touching the top 20.
Now,
Why would you make that just for nostalgia's sake if you feel like you can still operate at the top level?
yeah, and to add to that, what you're saying, you know, and I think I've said it in LPO as well. Brazilian clubs have a way of love, like especially the way, because the leagues are set up and their history and the World Cups they've played, especially in the men's, they're very volatile. So one day she's gonna come in and do the ceremony, fireworks. Oh, I'm back. I love my country. Blah blah blah. She doesn't score in 3 games. They're gonna kill her.
Yeah,
They're gonna ramage, her. They're gonna talk crap. They're gonna be keyboard warriors, online, and that's the way it is here in the United States. A little different, and there's a little more of like a level of respect. Yeah, there's trolls and things like that, like any other country, but it doesn't get that deep. I think people here are a little bit more level-headed when it comes to sports because soccer, it's really not our number one sport, but you know it's not like they are. So I mean, why would we jeopardize? You're in the kind of end of your career, right? You kind of want peace and quiet, or like things to just become, have a system already. You don't want to go to a twilight zone, like you don't know what's happening or
yeah,
what's coming to you. You want
yeah,
to go to something you feel familiar to end your career in a good way. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And leaving a legacy that's so positive, that's gonna inspire the next Marta. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
So
also there's potential to win, 4 or plus more trophies, right? It's a case of there's a lot more that she could win as well with this team and this setup and everything, and the way they know how to play with each other. All of that is ready to go for 2 more seasons. If she had gone somewhere else, it really would have been like you got to sort of be, of course, the main piece, but you then gotta kind of go back to what it was for her at the Pride for like 2017, like when there's those dark days of like there's just no one else who can really play at her level at all, right? Like that.
yeah,
Honestly, that's what it would be like if she went down to Corinthians. Like there'd be a few that were pretty good, but it's not like a whole team and not what we have here, and wouldn't really give her an opportunity in her last 2 years to achieve much more. It would be kind of just be, I'm out, sayonara, this is my swan song. And she's like, nah, I got more in me. That's what
of
she's
course,
saying. And I love the fact that she says I'll reach 10 seasons as an Orlando Pride player.
that's
And that's
amazing.
special for me as I've worn the number 10 jersey most of my career. I mean, we like nice, rounded, whole numbers like that. That's pretty cool.
Kim Scott says, unfortunately, Barbara Banda has to deal with a lot of this. Yeah,
Yeah.
one
The Barbara
day,
Banda.
one day they're like giving her the Medal of Honor in the army or something like that, and then the next day they're like,
Yeah.
I'm
I
like,
mean, not only is she getting it from, right wing nut jobs like freaking J.K. Rowling and whoever else wants to try and smear her name and call her a man, which is disgraceful. But also,
that's
there's such problems with the Zambian national team coaches and all of that horribleness that's going on there where they're under, investigation for things. And
yeah,
it's
yeah,
just a bad situation. Like, even though she loves going to play for Zambia, and I'm sure Grace does too, but like Grace got injured because
because of
look
Zambia.
they didn't look after her properly when she was coming back from injury. And it's just stuff like that it's just not a well-run operation. And so I know they want to play for their club, and I'm sorry, for their country, and I think they definitely should, but it just kind of seems like they're so much better off when they're under Orlando Pride's kind of arms, right? Like we're so good at looking after our players, and Haley and everybody in the club does such an incredible job at that then that kind of begs the question of like who wants to leave that, right? Who's gonna want to leave that situation, unless it's like we talked about maybe with Lara, where you're you really want to get some play time, and you're not going to get it with us right now.
Yep. It says Tom A. Coffin. It says Vamos Pride. Thank you so much. True. Think of what John was saying. Also, another thing I look forward to is the I don't call it derbies, but I mean the rivalries that brewed last season. That, like Washington, like KC. Like I'm looking forward to that. And see how these the players that were maybe in the sidelines, kind of dealing with injuries. See how they're gonna play out and how big of a difference they're gonna make now against those teams. So
I mean, there's still a lot of big players out there that are under free agency. There's been some trades and moves going on around the league. I know there's a big one for Jasmine Ryan's going to Houston. So Houston look like they're trying to fix their problems and trying to turn it around. They just signed, of course, the manager, Luis. They just brought in is in fact Morgan's husband, who's gone. Yeah, Morgan
Morgan
Gatrasso's
got
been.
trot.
Yeah, so I was speculating maybe
Think Morgan's gonna go there?
she might want to transfer. I think there's been some rules against that in the past, but I don't know if she would or wouldn't be able to. But also, they've been operating for a long time, clearly, as he's been coaching at other NWSL clubs,
Yeah.
not here. So maybe that won't change anything, but it could be. But Morgan, like, there's a new world here now in 2025 for these players where they're allowed to, like, make they have more freedom. It's not like you can't tell them trade and they have to go. So maybe I doubt any of our players would want to leave, but you never know. There might be personal reasons, whatever. But outside of that, I don't see a lot of changes for us. But eyes on the rest of the league because the onus is on them. Like who is going to bring in the Barbara Banda of 2025, Luis? That's right. Like there's already some massive players in the league already, and I think, but we'll see who wants to kind of bring in the biggest signing that will accelerate them up to the top of the league and the table and make them a real contender. Will it be one of the sort of big four? Gotham seemed to be offloading a lot of players. I don't know if they're kind of. Some people speculate they're having issues with the salary cap. I don't know if that's true or not.
There's a new franchise coming up in Denver.
Right, of course, the Denver franchise is coming in as well. So exciting times in the league. Lots of things happening. I'm looking for to see if there's any of these big players coming over from Europe. You know what I mean, Luis? That would be interesting.
Yeah, it'll be cool. Scott Busher posted on the Pride fan page that Marta's decision is in part because of the loyalty, love, and support that we've shown her. Why wouldn't Marta and others want to be here? Well, it's because people down south believe in, like, you gotta, we're a bigger club, you know what I mean? Like, we are Corinthians, you know what I mean? So your life, you dream on playing in my team, you know what I mean? Like, who is Orlando? You know what I mean? Like, 2 years ago, Orlando didn't exist. Corinthians always been here. We won this and this and this. Obviously, they mentioned them. What the men has won, but also the women have won a couple of Libertadores and a couple of things. But like, so they're more like that in a type of way. A little bit of a snob mentality in a way. Lack of comprehension that there's like other football leagues around the world that also play.
Well, they're not nowhere near the biggest, right? That's the thing.
Right.
I mean,
They're
a
not.
lot of people argue it's NWSL. Other people argue it's the WSL. Those two definitely are the biggest two. So, let's see from there, right? Where we go with this Orlando Pride team in 2025, but it's going to be an exciting year, Louise. I don't know when the next time we'll do
We're
a
gonna have
pod
our
is.
predictions.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
we're definitely gonna do some
Yeah.
stuff, but like we got a while till the season open. We got about 2 months till the Challenge Cup.
Yeah.
From
Hopefully,
now.
hopefully we get some news about players
Yeah.
coming
So
back.
I don't know if we're gonna do a Pride Pod every week just because, like we said, there's not endless news.
Yeah.
But we are gonna work on some preseason activities, get some guests on for sure. Definitely we'll be doing some preseason predictions. Maybe there'll be some friendlies, Luis. I think that's something
It'll be fun.
we've never really, like, I can't remember if I've ever been to an Orlando Pride preseason friendly. Maybe I
It'll be
have.
cool.
Maybe that's something that we could work on. I know there's been like preseason tournaments and stuff that happened before. But I don't know if we're gonna get any friendlies for us to see. That would be cool before that seventh game. I know it's a big way to start the season for them, the Challenge Cup. It's like, we're playing Washington again. This will mean a lot for us to kind of play them again at home. So I'd imagine they're gonna want to play a few warm-up games before that, Luis. So let's see what happens. Maybe sometime in February will we get to see Orlando Pride out there again. At least we'll get some training clips. But
Yeah,
I'm
yeah. There's
missing.
going to be a new jersey, I believe.
Yep, there should be a new purple jersey coming out at some
Look for
point. I
look,
imagine.
look
I
forward
think
to
the
that.
orange jersey will be staying.
Yeah,
Last year they
yeah.
changed both of them, but obviously the orange one, I think they put a little bit more. I'm not gonna say that the
Right.
other one doesn't have a lot of effort, but it is just straight up a purple jersey. You could do a lot more with that. So I suspect they'll be changing the home one this year. So that's gonna happen too. No leak on that yet. The Nike better than keeping it locked down than Adidas, apparently.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'll be
So
honest with you. What I've seen lately, I mean, I don't want to talk crap about the sponsor of the club, but I know there's just jerseys that I've seen from other clubs too that I was just like, man.
the Adidas ones, yeah,
Adidas is very like it's the same model for almost every league.
yeah, they do that.
And then also Nike is now doing that. I think Puma varies, but
Yeah.
they all started to do this.
Yeah, I
It's
mean, if
like,
you don't push them, I think they're gonna try and sell you a stock jersey that they've already designed for another big club, and then you change it slightly for you. So, but let's see what we get for a new purple jersey, and obviously, it's gonna have that star. So, I'm gonna buy it just for the star alone, Louise, like you said.
no, for sure.
Um,
That's one of the reasons why I ask because
yeah, we're all
I
interested.
think everyone wants that jersey that has a star on it.
I just got a hat the other day, the one with the
That
star,
has
the
a
end of the
star.
cell on it. Yeah, that was one of my Christmas presents. So,
Oh,
as well as my flag.
I have to get the
The
flag and a hat for with a
This
star on
flag
it.
is really awesome. I was gonna put it outside my house, but I was like, nah, it's too nice to get weather on it. Like I need to put it up here, behind me for the pod. So, Luis, it was awesome talking with you.
Yeah,
Great
same with you, my
news
friend.
today about Marta. If you've been watching, please go ahead on YouTube, drop a like on the video
And you can
for us.
comment also.
Yes, if you're watching later, please drop a comment. We will happily get back to you. You can also hit the bell notification on YouTube. Sorry, on YouTube, so you can see anytime that we go live. Like we said, we're gonna see next time there's some more news about Orlando Pride. We'll go live to talk all about that. So hit that bell notification so you can't miss us. You can also find us on Facebook as well as Instagram and on X. We are live on X as well if you prefer to watch there. And we're also on Blue Sky as well now, Luis. So we got to make sure remember to promote Blue Sky. And also you can listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts later. We added video to Spotify now as
Yeah,
well.
so that's what I was gonna say. So starting this season, so believe it or not, YouTube, we're on a 30-year anniversary on YouTube, so it's fantastic. But when it comes to Spotify and Apple Podcasts, well, Apple Podcasts is only audio, but with Spotify, it's also going to be on. It's going to be on video this year. So and LPO already, the first stream is also on video. So so everything's going to be on video there as well. Hopefully, if the numbers are good, we maybe could do some little content here and there, original content for that eventually. It just depends how much we grow, it depends on you. And so when it comes to the interaction, so everything in this space of YouTube or social media, people think it's the views. It's really not that, it's the engagement. So the more we keep you engaged and the more you engage with us, you ask questions, you drop likes, You know, even after the, I mean, you don't have to watch the live, but you know, after the fact, you was like, hey, you know, it'd be cool to know, you know, what he meant about this, you know, and we'll answer you back, you know, on the next episode for sure. So it's just the engagement, you know, the same thing that we do on Instagram and on Facebook. So so check us out. We appreciate you 110% for all your support. We're going to continue putting out the best content for Orlando Pride as well. So anything else, John?
No, man, I'm really excited about this season coming
Yeah, it's
up.
going to be fun. Hopefully we get a
I
two-peat.
mean, right? I mean, like last year, we were sitting here being like, "Oh, it'll be really cool if we make the playoffs." We're really excited about
Yeah, right.
that. This year, preseason, we're like, "Yo, let's
Well,
go!
the
I'm
expect
ready to beat up on some teams. Let's roll."
and
For
that's
sure.
and the players need to be ready for that because now
Yeah,
the expectation is higher.
it is, of course, and that's always, but hey, the idea of another 2 years of Marta and Barbara Banda in her second year in the league, and new players like Grace Chanda and other players coming back from injury, it's gonna be exciting, man. And I just hope that more and more people find Orlando Pride and want to come watch Orlando Pride, and also come support us as well, and everything that we're doing here. And thank you all for being here. Please go ahead and drop a like on the video. Like we said, it really helps us out. And we will see you all soon to talk
Yeah,
more Orlando Pride.
yeah.
So,
We'll see you soon. Thank you to everybody, to all the 81 people watching. Vamos Pride. Have a good one. Thank you so
vamos,
much.
Pride.